On this episode, I'm going to show you how to make the best, easiest homemade mac and cheese recipe. First thing we're going to do is make the crunchy breadcrumb topping. I'm adding some unsalted butter to the pan. I like to use unsalted butter, that way I can control the quality and the quantity of the salt. I've taken a garlic clove, peeled it, and then just bashed it with the side of the knife, and you can see it's been bashed. And what we're looking for is to infuse the breadcrumbs with garlic, but not actually have them too strong, just a small perfume. If I use minced garlic, it would have a tendency to burn. So this way we can add lots of flavor, but it's not going to burn. And then we're going to add some panko breadcrumbs. Panko breadcrumbs are almost like a sourdough loaf, and you've grated them. So I'm just going to add those to the pan. And we toast the breadcrumbs because we're not only looking for crunch, we're looking for flavor. You've got to keep them on the move, because if you don't, they're going to start to brown just in one spot. And you can see it's got this lovely golden color now. I'm going to take the garlic clove and we're just going to discard it. I'm going to turn off the heat. Because we know the pan's hot, I'm going to place them on a cold tray because we want to stop the cooking process. I'm going to share with you a different technique that you may not have seen before. This technique adds a lot of flavor to the pasta. I've got half and half in the pan. We're using half and half because it has a higher fat ratio to what regular milk does. And we're going to add some chicken stock. When we think about pasta, pasta's dry. So what we want to do is rehydrate that pasta, but as it's rehydrating, it's absorbing the liquid that it's rehydrating in. So what we want to do now is create this place where it can absorb lots of flavor. So I'm just bringing up the half and half and the chicken stock to a boil. What we're going to do is add 8 ounces of macaroni, and this will take between 6 to 8 minutes to cook. So we're just going to let this gently cook inside this liquid. As you look in the pan, you can see how the macaroni has absorbed the chicken stock and the half and half. Now it's time to add the cheese. You'll notice in the recipe that we're using American cheese. American cheese has stabilizers. These stabilizers will give us a silky sauce. If I was just to add cheddar cheese to it, there's a jolly good chance that the proteins will lock up and we'll end up with this gritty sauce. So I'm going to place a lid on just to keep the heat in there. Now that it's been sitting, let's take a look. As we look in the pan, we can see the cheese has melted beautifully. Just look how lovely that looks, that cheese, and you can see that it's not grainy and it looks wonderful. So what we want to do now is add some Gruyère cheese. Gruyère cheese melts beautifully and it's full of flavor. I'm going to add some dried mustard. If you don't have dried mustard, don't worry, you can add some of your favorite mustards, such as whole grain or Dijon mustard. Mustard adds a nice piquant to this recipe. I'm going to place the lid on, and the residual heat from the macaroni is going to melt that Gruyère cheese. Just let that melt for a couple of minutes, and it's going to be full of flavor. You can see that the cheese has melted. Just look how good that looks. Look at the creaminess of that macaroni and cheese. It looks fabulous. When it comes to serving this, we're just going to serve it in a bowl and top this with some of those garlic breadcrumbs. And there you have it, my favorite recipe for the easiest, creamiest macaroni and cheese.